Have you ever thought about why poor people stay poor, even when they work harder than anyone else? And why rich people keep getting richer, even when it seems like they're not doing anything special? It's not about luck, and it's not about fate. It's about mindset. The poor learn to survive. The rich learn to create. Some live in fear of losing. Others think about how to multiply. In this audiobook, we will uncover the hidden truth, why most people remain in a cycle of scarcity forever, and what distinguishes the mindset of those who build wealth across generations. This is not a story about money. This is a story about how freedom thinks. Because the system isn't just designed by banks, corporations, or governments. It's designed by mindsets. The poor stay poor not simply because of lack of money, but because of how they think about money. And the rich keep getting richer not just because of what they own, but because of how they operate their minds. This audiobook, Why the Poor Stay Poor and the Rich Get Richer, isn't about economics. It's about energy, focus, awareness, the invisible patterns that separate those who survive from those who build empires. So if you've ever wondered, why do some people seem to attract opportunity while others can't escape struggle? Why does one person's risk become another person's ruin? Why does money seem to flow endlessly toward the few while the rest keep chasing it, exhausted and anxious? The truth is this: the poor and the rich live in the same world, but in completely different realities. Chapter 1. The Real Divide. It's not the gap between incomes that keeps the world divided. It's the gap between mentalities. The poor think about scarcity. The rich think about systems. The poor chase survival. The rich chase scalability. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. And this difference starts long before a paycheck ever hits the bank. It starts in thought patterns, in emotional reactions, in how each person interprets time, risk, and reward. You see, a poor mindset spends every dollar trying to feel safe. A rich mindset invests every dollar trying to create freedom. Safety versus freedom, that's the real war. And the battlefield isn't in Wall Street or Washington. It's in your head. The system is not designed to save you. It's designed to test you. That's why 90% of lottery winners end up broke. That's why million-dollar athletes file for bankruptcy. That's why some people work 3 jobs and still can't get ahead. Because you can't build wealth on a foundation of fear. And most people, no matter how educated or hardworking, are still ruled by financial fear. Chapter 2. The Psychology of Poverty. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. Being poor isn't just about not having enough. It's about believing you'll never have enough. It's waking up every day in defense mode, trying to protect what little you have instead of building what you could create. It's saying things like, I can't afford that. That's not for people like me. I'll start when I have more. Every sentence that begins with I can't is a contract signed with limitation. Poor thinking is fear disguised as logic. It makes you believe caution is wisdom when it's actually avoidance. The rich don't avoid risk. They understand it. They study it, manage it, and turn it into opportunity. The poor wait for the perfect moment. The rich create the moment. The poor say, when I have enough, I'll invest. The rich say, when I start investing, I'll have enough. That's the loop, a cycle that keeps millions trapped in almost for life. Because every time fear says wait, time quietly steals your potential. Chapter 3. Time, the great divider. The poor think in hours. The rich think in decades. The poor sell their time to the highest bidder. The rich buy back their time with leverage. Poor people ask, "How much do I make per hour?" Rich people ask, "How much can this hour multiply?" The difference sounds subtle, but it's the seed of every fortune in history, because wealth is built by those who learn to trade effort for equity, not just effort for income. If you're working 60 hours a week but own nothing that can grow without you, you're not building wealth. You're building dependency. That's why the poor stay poor. They're stuck inside a treadmill economy. Work, spend, rest, repeat. Meanwhile, the rich are playing chess with time. They plant money into systems that work while they sleep. Real estate, businesses, intellectual property, all designed to multiply even when they're not watching. They don't just earn, they compound. Chapter 4. The Hidden Game. Let's talk about the invisible game being played around you, because, make no mistake, there is a game, and most people don't even know they're on the board. The poor play checkers, the rich play chess. The poor see moves, the rich see patterns. The poor look for jobs, the rich look for leverage. If you've ever said, "That's not fair," you're right. It isn't fair, but fairness was never the point. The system rewards those who understand how it works and punishes those who don't. That's why wealthy people study economics, taxes, and ownership, while others scroll, binge, and complain. Knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. And in today's world, ignorance is the most expensive habit you can have. Because the poor believe money is made by effort, but the rich know money is made by understanding systems. The more you understand how the game works, the less you need luck to win it. Chapter 5. Emotion versus logic. This is the point where most people lose, because money, despite being made of logic, is controlled by emotion. Fear makes people sell low. Greed makes people buy high. Ego makes people compete instead of collaborate. The rich train their emotions. The poor are trained by their emotions. When the market crashes, the poor panic. The rich prepare. When opportunity appears, the poor hesitate. The rich act. The poor say, "What if I lose?" The rich ask, "What if I learn?" You can't build wealth with emotional instability. Discipline, not desire, determines destiny. Because at the end of the day, your bank account is a mirror of your mental habits. You don't get rich by chasing money. You get rich by controlling yourself. And this is just the beginning, because the gap between rich and poor isn't closing. It's widening. Not because the rich are evil, but because they've learned the hidden truth of how the world works, and the poor haven't. In the next chapter, we'll uncover what the rich know that keeps them ahead, how they use debt, taxes, and systems to stay free while everyone else stays trapped. It's not luck, it's literacy. And once you see it, you'll never see money the same way again. Chapter 6. How the Rich Use Debt. Let's destroy one of the biggest lies ever told. Debt is bad. That single phrase has kept millions in poverty. Because the truth is, debt isn't bad. Ignorance of debt is. The poor use debt to consume. The rich use debt to create. When the poor borrow, it's for liabilities, cars, clothes, gadgets, things that fade. When the rich borrow, it's for assets, real estate, companies, investments that grow. Same debt, different direction. Debt is a lever, but a lever in the wrong hands becomes a trap. Poor thinking says, "I'll wait until I can afford it." Rich thinking says, "I'll find a way to make it pay for itself." That's why millionaires use loans to acquire buildings while others use them to buy TVs. That's why some go broke paying interest while others earn it. Money moves toward those who understand its mechanics. The poor fear credit, the rich command it. Debt, when mastered, is not a burden. It's a bridge. A bridge that can take you from working for money to money working for you. Remember, bad debt buys comfort. Good debt buys freedom. Chapter 7. Taxes, the invisible game. If you truly want to understand why the rich keep getting richer, you need to look at what's invisible, taxes. Most people complain about them. The rich study them. The average person spends a lifetime paying taxes they barely understand, while the wealthy hire experts to minimize them legally. The system rewards ownership and creation. Employees get taxed the most. Business owners and investors get taxed the least. Why? Because the system incentivizes contribution. When you create jobs, provide housing, or innovate, you're helping the economy grow, and the system rewards that. But when you only consume and trade time for money, you're taxed more heavily, not because it's unfair, but because you're playing on the wrong side of the game. That's why the rich build corporations and trust funds. It's why they invest through entities instead of personal accounts. They understand the rules the average person never learned. And here's the part no one teaches you. The tax code isn't written against you. It's written for those who play the game properly. The rich don't complain about taxes. They use the law as strategy. While the poor say, that's unfair, the rich say, that's education. Because complaining doesn't change your outcome. Comprehension does. Remember, the poor see the tax code as punishment. The rich see it as a playbook. Chapter 8. Systems, the silent empire. Here's the secret every rich person knows. If you don't build a system, you'll always work for one. Systems are the reason the rich sleep while money flows in. They're the machines that multiply effort, automate income, and scale time. Most people think wealth comes from hard work. That's a half-truth. Hard work builds character. Systems build empires. The poor say, I'll work harder. The rich say, I'll work smarter, then hire harder workers. Every business, every investment, every piece of passive income is a system designed to do one thing: remove the need for constant effort. That's why the poor stay exhausted. They're trading time for survival. And the rich stay composed. They're trading systems for scalability. If you want to break free, you must ask yourself, what system can I build that makes my effort exponential? Because if your income stops when you do, you're not free. You're fragile. Remember, you don't escape the system by quitting your job. You escape it by building your own. Chapter 9. The emotional blueprint of the rich. We often talk about financial intelligence, but rarely about emotional intelligence in money. Here's the truth. Most people don't have a money problem. They have an emotion problem disguised as one. They overspend because of insecurity. They underinvest because of fear. They chase trends because of envy. The poor act emotionally. The rich act intentionally. That's the difference between instant gratification and generational wealth. The poor buy things that look rich. The rich buy things that build richness. And when markets crash, which they always do, emotions destroy fortunes faster than any recession. You can't control the economy, but you can control your state. Because emotion is the thermostat of your decisions. When you master it, you master outcomes. That's why the rich meditate, journal, exercise. They train their minds before they move their money. Their biggest asset isn't a portfolio, it's emotional stability. Remember, the poor chase comfort, the rich chase control. Chapter 10. The Power of Information. Information is the new currency. You can't outperform what you don't understand. And in today's world, ignorance costs more than inflation ever will. The rich don't just consume information, they curate it. They read books, attend seminars, surround themselves with thinkers. They pay for access, not entertainment. The poor spend hours watching other people's success. The rich spend hours studying how to replicate it. And here's the catch. You can't get rich with yesterday's education. The world is changing faster than ever. Technology, AI, digital assets, innovation, opportunity hides where few are willing to look. The rich stay ahead because they stay students of the game. The poor say, that's too complicated. The rich say, teach me how it works. Information is leverage. Leverage is wealth. You're one idea away from changing your entire trajectory, but you'll never find it if you spend your time scrolling instead of studying. Remember, the poor seek escape, the rich seek education. Now let's go deeper, because all these patterns, mindset, debt, taxes, systems, are only symptoms of a bigger divide, the psychological operating system that governs how people view the world. In the next chapter, we'll explore that invisible script, why the rich play offense and the poor play defense, and how to reprogram your own mind to stop surviving and start scaling. Because if you can change your mental software, you can rewrite your entire financial destiny. Chapter 11. The Mindset Operating System. Imagine this. Every mind runs on a hidden code, an invisible operating system. It determines how you interpret opportunity, handle risk, and respond to failure. The poor run on a system of protection. The rich run on a system of expansion. Poor thinking asks, how can I not lose? Rich thinking asks, how can I make this multiply? It's the same world, the same economy, but two completely different mental universes. A poor mindset believes success is scarce, that for someone to win, someone else must lose. A rich mindset believes success is abundant, that everyone can win if they create enough value. A poor mindset waits for permission. A rich mindset acts without approval. And that's why you can give two people the same opportunity. One will find 10 reasons it won't work. The other will find one reason to make it happen. You can't out-earn the limits of your own mind. You can't outperform the story you keep telling yourself. Wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with mindset. And mindset doesn't change when you get rich. It's what makes you rich. Chapter 12. Defense versus offense. If you look closely, most people spend their entire lives on defense, defending their comfort zones, defending their excuses, defending their fears. They think playing it safe will protect them, but safety doesn't build wealth. It builds stagnation. The poor spend all their energy avoiding mistakes. The rich spend their energy pursuing momentum. The poor say, what if it fails? The rich say, what if it works? One lives in prediction, the other lives in preparation. The truth? You can't win by avoiding loss. Every wealthy person you admire, every empire ever built, was constructed by people willing to take calculated risk. The poor wait for a guarantee. The rich move when they see a probability. They don't need certainty. They just need a strategy. So while one person is still asking, is this safe? The other has already built a system, learned from it, and made it profitable. The game doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards adaptation. Remember, Poor people play not to lose. Rich people play to win. Chapter 13, The Energy of Value. Money doesn't follow need. It follows value. The poor chase money directly. The rich chase value creation, and money chases them. The poor ask, how can I earn more? The rich ask, how can I be worth more? And here's the twist most people miss. Value is not about what you do. It's about what your work creates. You can clean floors or code software, but if your output solves problems, saves time, or multiplies results, you're valuable. Wealth is the reflection of how much energy you give the world and how effectively you package that energy into solutions. The poor see work as effort. The rich see work as impact. You don't get rich by working harder. You get rich by working smarter on the right problems. When you start thinking in value, your mind shifts from how can I survive today to how can I serve for decades. That's the mindset of entrepreneurs, investors, and visionaries. They understand that money is a receipt of service. Serve more, serve better, serve longer. The poor try to get paid once. The rich build systems that pay them forever. Remember, the poor chase money. The rich chase meaning, and money follows. Chapter 14, The Myth of Fairness. Here's a hard truth. Life was never designed to be fair. It was designed to be responsive. The world doesn't pay for fairness. It pays for effectiveness. That's why two people can work the same hours in the same company and one earns 10 times more. Because the world pays for value output, not effort input. The poor keep waiting for fairness. The rich focus on fitness. Fitness for opportunity, fitness for challenges, fitness for creation. Because the world is not kind, but it's consistent. It rewards patterns. It responds to mastery. It multiplies momentum. That's why the same types of people keep winning. They've built habits that trigger results, not because they're lucky, but because they're intentional. So stop waiting for fairness. Start building fitness. Learn faster. Move smarter. Adapt stronger. The system won't change for you, but you can change the way you play it. Remember, fairness is a wish. Fitness is a weapon. Chapter 15, The Illusion of Hard Work. We've been lied to about hard work. We were told, work hard and you'll succeed. But if that were true, every construction worker, nurse, and teacher would be a millionaire. The truth is, hard work is not the path. It's the entry ticket. Everyone works hard, but few work right. Hard work matters only when it's directed toward leverage. If you're not creating leverage through skills, systems, or scale, you're just exhausting yourself in the wrong direction. The poor work harder when they should work smarter. The rich delegate, automate, and replicate. Because wealthy people understand this law of energy. Your effort must multiply without you. It's not about grinding endlessly. It's about building engines of efficiency. The poor mistake busyness for progress. The rich mistake stillness for power. They understand that focus builds faster than frenzy. Rested minds create more wealth than restless ones, because clarity compounds faster than chaos. Remember, the poor hustle for approval, the rich build for autonomy. Chapter 16, The Rich Think Long. The poor think in paychecks. The rich think in phases. The poor ask, what can I earn this week? The rich ask, what can I build this decade? And that one shift changes everything. Because wealth is not made by speed. It's made by strategy. The poor want fast returns. The rich want reliable ones. The poor chase excitement. The rich chase endurance. They understand that the longer your time horizon, the larger your rewards. While the poor spend their money trying to look rich today, the wealthy invest theirs to be rich tomorrow. Patience is their currency. Discipline is their secret. When you stretch your vision beyond the next paycheck, you start to design your future, not survive it. Remember, the poor trade time for comfort. The rich trade comfort for time. You're starting to see it now. Wealth isn't about intelligence, privilege, or luck. It's about mental models. The poor are stuck in reaction. The rich live in design. In the next chapters, we'll uncover how these mental models work, why the rich think in networks instead of individuals, how they collaborate, delegate, and compound. Because the richest people in the world don't just have money, they have multipliers. And those multipliers can be built by anyone willing to think differently. Chapter 17, The Power of Networks. There's a reason the saying goes, your network is your net worth. Because wealth doesn't grow in isolation. It grows in connection. The poor focus on competition. The rich focus on collaboration. The poor say, I don't want to owe anyone. The rich say, let's build something together. While the poor protect what's theirs, the rich expand by joining forces with other builders. You see, poor thinking isolates because it fears betrayal. Rich thinking connects because it seeks expansion. The poor build walls. The rich build bridges, and those bridges turn into partnerships. Partnerships turn into ventures, and ventures turn into freedom. The richest people in the world are masters of leverage, not just financial leverage, but human leverage. They understand that one conversation, one connection, one collaboration can accelerate progress faster than 10 years of working alone. Because it's not just what you know, it's who you grow with. Remember, poor people see others as competition. Rich people see others as collaboration. Chapter 18, The Value Exchange. Every rich person understands this rule. Money is not earned, it's exchanged. It's an exchange of value, trust, and transformation. The poor try to take value. The rich learn to create it. You don't have to manipulate, hustle, or chase. You simply have to produce something worth paying for. The reason the rich get richer is because they've learned how to scale that exchange. They've learned how to make their ideas, products, and systems serve thousands or millions simultaneously. The poor think value stops at one transaction. The rich build recurring value. They build brands, not just businesses. They build platforms, not just products. They build trust, not just sales. And that's why their money compounds. The poor think like consumers. The rich think like creators. Ask yourself this. When you wake up every morning, are you consuming or contributing? Because one path empties your wallet. The other fills it. Remember, money doesn't chase effort. It chases excellence. Chapter 19, The Rich Think in Systems. There's something fascinating about the wealthy. They rarely make random moves. Every decision connects to a larger design. They think in frameworks, not feelings. To them, everything, time, energy, people, capital, is a system. And systems exist to make results predictable. The poor think, if I work hard today, I'll get ahead. The rich think, if I build a system today, I'll stay ahead forever. You can't scale chaos, but you can scale structure. That's why the wealthy obsess over models, habits, and processes. They automate what others avoid. They delegate what others fear to lose control over. They document what others ignore. The poor rely on luck. The rich rely on leverage. Every great fortune is built on a predictable system, a repeatable formula that multiplies without emotional burnout. So stop trying to do more. Start trying to build better. Remember, you can't scale effort. You can only scale systems. Chapter 20. The rich control their attention. Here's one of the most under-discussed secrets of wealth. The rich guard their attention like treasure because they know attention is the first currency you ever spend. Before you spend money, you spend focus. The poor waste their focus on entertainment, gossip, and distraction. The rich invest their focus in learning, creation, and strategy. The poor ask, "What's trending?" The rich ask, "What's transforming?" The poor live reactively. Every notification hijacks their mind. The rich live proactively. They choose what deserves their energy. Discipline of attention is discipline of destiny. Because the truth is, you can't create wealth with a distracted mind. Focus compounds. Distraction divides. Every minute you waste on comparison is a minute you could have spent building. The poor consume their time. The rich compound it. When you learn to control your attention, you regain control of your entire life. Remember, your attention is the seed of your outcome. Chapter 21. The rich think in probabilities. While the poor seek certainty, the rich make peace with probability. They don't need guarantees. They need odds. Because life is a series of bets. Every decision is a wager. Every choice is an investment of time, energy, or capital. The poor wait until they feel safe. The rich move when the math makes sense. They study patterns, gather data, and play the long game. They lose small so they can win big. That's the mindset of investors, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. They don't aim to be right every time. They aim to be right enough times. The poor take failure personally. The rich take it professionally. They know that losses are not setbacks. They're feedback, because wealth doesn't belong to the smartest or the strongest. It belongs to the most consistent learner. Remember, the poor seek perfection. The rich seek probability. Chapter 22. The long game. If there's one secret that truly separates the rich from the poor, it's this. The rich delay gratification. They sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term power. The poor buy dopamine. The rich build discipline. The poor chase status. The rich chase sustainability. Because they understand the real formula of wealth. Freedom flash. They drive ordinary cars while building extraordinary portfolios. They live below their means while expanding their impact. They choose quiet growth over loud validation. The poor want to look successful now. The rich want to be successful forever. And here's the truth. Every decision either compounds your future or consumes it. Every swipe, every purchase, every hour of procrastination, it all adds up. If you want to win the long game, you have to start living like the future matters more than the moment. Because when everyone else is playing for comfort, the rich are playing for control. Remember, the poor spend to impress, the rich invest to progress. You're beginning to see the whole picture now. It's not just about money. It's about mentality. It's not about privilege. It's about perspective. The poor stay poor because they chase survival. The rich get richer because they chase structure. In the next part, we'll go beyond mindset into strategy. You'll learn exactly how the rich protect, grow, and multiply their wealth, how they turn ordinary opportunities into extraordinary freedom, and how you can begin doing the same, starting from wherever you are. Because wealth isn't a destination, it's a discipline. Chapter 23. How the rich protect their wealth. Most people think getting rich is the hard part, but staying rich, that's the real game. Because once you have money, the world starts pulling at it. Taxes, inflation, lawsuits, mistakes, emotion. The poor think wealth is something you spend. The rich know wealth is something you protect. Here's the first rule of protection. You don't protect what you don't respect. The poor treat money like water. They let it flow in and out, never tracking where it goes. The rich treat money like soldiers, each one trained, disciplined, and deployed for a purpose. They build shields, trust funds, insurance, diversified portfolios. They structure ownership through corporations, not emotions, because they understand something most people never learn. If you don't create financial structure, chaos will do it for you. They don't store wealth in fragile systems. They store it in assets that outlast them. Businesses, land, intellectual property. The poor protect money by hiding it. The rich protect money by multiplying it. They don't keep it in a box. They put it to work, knowing that inflation punishes hoarders and rewards builders. And perhaps their most powerful protection strategy of all, they protect their mindset first, because no amount of money can save a person who still thinks poor. Remember, you don't lose wealth when money leaves your hand. You lose it when wisdom leaves your mind. Chapter 24. The rich don't chase money, they attract it. Here's the paradox of wealth. The harder you chase money, the faster it runs. Why? Because desperation repels prosperity. Money is a mirror. It reflects the value you believe you can bring. The poor chase it emotionally. The rich attract it strategically. The poor say, "I need more money." The rich ask, "How can I become the kind of person money needs?" That's the shift, from chasing to becoming. When you develop valuable skills, when you master communication, when you solve real problems, money starts flowing toward you naturally. The poor build anxiety around money. The rich build systems around it. They create pipelines instead of puddles. They design cash flow instead of luck. The poor wait for opportunity. The rich manufacture it. Because wealth is not a pursuit. It's a magnetism. And the more value you radiate, the more prosperity you attract. Remember, stop chasing money. Start becoming magnetic to it. Chapter 25. The rich invest in themselves first. Ask any billionaire where their best investment was, and they'll tell you it wasn't in real estate, stocks, or crypto. It was in themselves. Because your skill set is the only asset that can't be stolen, taxed, or inflated away. The poor say, education is expensive. The rich say, ignorance costs more. The poor seek entertainment to escape. The rich seek education to evolve. Every wealthy person you know, from entrepreneurs to investors, spends time sharpening their mind before they spend money. They buy books before luxury. They attend seminars before vacations. They invest in mentors before machinery, because they understand that the return on personal growth compounds faster than the stock market ever could. The poor chase profits. The rich chase perspective. You can lose money and make it back, but if you lose knowledge, you lose your leverage. And here's the secret. You don't get paid for the hours you work. You get paid for the value your knowledge produces. So, if you want to earn more, learn faster. If you want to grow bigger, think deeper. Every dollar you invest in your mind becomes a lifetime of dividends. Remember, the poor buy things that fade, the rich buy lessons that last. Chapter 26. The rich live by principles. Wealth without principles is a ticking bomb. The poor chase shortcuts. The rich follow standards. Principles are what keep you anchored when markets crash, when emotions surge, when opportunity tests your ethics. The poor make decisions based on how they feel. The rich make decisions based on what they believe. They don't need to overthink every moment because their foundation is built on clarity, rules that guide their behavior no matter how chaotic the world gets. Principle 1. Always create more value than you take. Principle 2. Delay gratification. Principle 3. Protect your time like your fortune. Principle 4. Let your money work harder than you do. Principle 5. Never stop learning. Wealth built on strategy fades. Wealth built on principles endures. Because when you have principles, you don't need to chase opportunity. You attract trust. And trust is the rarest currency of all. Remember, principles make millionaires. Impulse makes debtors. Chapter 27. The habits that compound. Success isn't an explosion. It's accumulation. The poor wait for life-changing events. The rich focus on life-shaping habits. Because wealth is not built in one big move, it's built in small, consistent ones that compound over time. They wake up early not because it's trendy, but because silence sharpens their strategy. They track their spending not because they're cheap, but because they're aware. They set goals not because they're dreamers, but because they understand that aimless ambition kills efficiency. The poor live reactively, the rich live rhythmically. Every small action, reading daily, planning weekly, investing monthly, creates a ripple that turns into a wave of results. If you can discipline your habits, you can direct your destiny, because habits build momentum, and momentum builds freedom. Remember, discipline isn't punishment, it's preparation. Chapter 28. The rich understand energy. Wealth is not only about money, it's about energy. The poor waste energy on gossip, resentment, and self-doubt. The rich invest energy in creation, gratitude, and improvement. Because every emotion either fuels or drains your performance. The poor say, "I'm tired." The rich ask, "Where am I leaking energy?" They guard their peace like a financial asset. They rest not out of laziness, but out of strategy. They know that burned-out minds make broke decisions. If you want to live like the rich, start managing your energy like a CEO. Say no more often. Set boundaries. Audit your emotional expenses. Because energy, not time, is your true currency. Remember, the poor spend energy. The rich allocate it. Now that we've explored how the rich think, build, and protect, it's time to uncover how they multiply. In the next part, we'll dive into the mechanics of expansion, how the rich turn opportunities into empires, and how you can apply the same mindset to grow your life, even if you're starting from zero. Because abundance isn't luck, it's alignment. Chapter 29. The science of multiplication. When most people make $1, they spend it. When the rich make $1, they ask, "How can I make it bring a friend?" That's the mindset of multiplication. The poor think linearly, earn, spend, repeat. The rich think exponentially, earn, invest, expand. The poor rely on a paycheck. The rich rely on assets. And here's the secret. An asset isn't just something you own. It's something that earns while you rest. It can be a business, a property, a piece of intellectual property, even your personal brand. Anything that keeps working after you stop is an asset. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade systems for scale. Because one day you'll run out of time, but your systems won't. Every wealthy individual you've ever studied, from Warren Buffett to Oprah Winfrey, built systems that compound their effort. They plant financial seeds that grow even while they sleep. They're not playing the game of hours, they're playing the game of ownership. Ownership is leverage. Leverage is freedom. Remember, poor people earn with their hands, rich people earn with their heads. Chapter 30, Multiple Streams of Stability. The poor seek one source of income and call it security. The rich know that's dependency. Real security isn't in one paycheck. It's in diversity of cash flow. The rich never depend on a single stream. They build rivers. Income from investments, income from businesses, income from royalties, dividends, partnerships, and intellectual property. They understand that every stream is protection. If one dries up, another keeps flowing. The poor think more money means more work. The rich know more money means more systems. You don't need 10 jobs. You need 10 engines, 10 machines that work while you rest, think, and live. Because true freedom isn't about wealth, it's about options. And the more streams you create, the more options life gives you. Remember, the poor look for stability. The rich build it. Chapter 31, The Art of Compounding. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. The power of compounding, where effort, money, and learning multiply not linearly, but exponentially. The poor quit too early to see it. The rich stay long enough to watch it explode. Here's how compounding really works. It's not just about investments, it's about habits. $1 invested today grows tomorrow. A skill practiced today doubles in value next year. A connection nurtured today can open doors a decade from now. The poor get bored by repetition. The rich get rich by repetition. They understand that greatness hides in routine, that every small improvement, every disciplined act builds invisible wealth until it becomes unshakable. The poor crave instant gratification. The rich trust delayed satisfaction. They play for time, not attention. Remember, the poor count days, the rich count decades. Chapter 32, The Power of Positioning. There's a point in every game where effort matters less than position. Think of chess. A pawn can become a queen, but only if it reaches the right side of the board. Life works the same way. The poor keep moving fast in the wrong direction. The rich move strategically toward leverage points. They don't chase every opportunity. They position themselves for the right one. They study industries before they enter them. They surround themselves with people who expand their perspective. They place themselves in environments that challenge them to grow. Because wealth is not about speed. It's about alignment. You can't rise in the wrong room. You can't grow in a stagnant circle. You can't think abundantly around people addicted to scarcity. The rich curate their environment with intention. They understand that proximity creates perspective, and perspective creates profit. Remember, don't just work harder. Position yourself smarter. Chapter 33, Control is Everything. The rich have one obsession that the poor often overlook: control. Control over their income, control over their time, control over their emotions. They understand that the more control you surrender, the more power you give away. That's why they start businesses, not just jobs. They learn the language of money, because if you can't read financial systems, you'll forever work for someone who can. They control what they can measure. They measure what matters. The poor seek comfort. The rich seek command. Because freedom without control is chaos. You want to build wealth? Stop outsourcing your power. Stop letting others decide your schedule, your salary, your self-worth. Start designing a life where you're the CEO of your destiny. Because the richest people don't just own assets. They own their attention, their choices, their energy. Remember, the poor want freedom, the rich build control. Chapter 34, The Wealth of Time. Money is replaceable, time is not. The poor waste time trying to save money. The rich spend money to save time. Because they understand time is the only currency you can never refund. You can lose money and recover. You can lose a job and rebuild. But lose your time, and it's gone forever. The poor say, I don't have time. The rich say, I don't waste time. They hire for what others can do. They focus on what only they should do. Every hour is an investment. Every decision either compounds or drains it. You can't manage time. You can only manage yourself within it. So ask yourself, are you spending time or are you building with it? Because how you spend your time determines how you live your life. Remember, the poor waste time chasing money. The rich use money to buy time. We've now uncovered the engines of wealth, mindset, systems, positioning, and control. But there's still one more layer, the philosophy of the rich. In the final part, we'll go deep into how the wealthy think about life itself, how they stay grounded while growing powerful, how they turn generosity into expansion, and how they master the art of fulfillment beyond finance. Because money is not the end. It's the amplifier. It magnifies who you already are. Chapter 35, The Wealth of Purpose. There comes a point when wealth stops being about the numbers in your bank account and starts being about the meaning behind them. The poor chase money because they believe it will buy happiness. The rich pursue purpose because they know happiness is a byproduct of contribution. Purpose is the currency that outlasts profit. It's what keeps billionaires building long after they've earned more than they could ever spend, because once you can afford everything, you start asking, what truly matters? The rich don't stay rich by accident. They stay rich because they attach their work to something bigger than themselves. They fund schools, launch charities, mentor entrepreneurs, create jobs. Not because they need applause, but because they understand the equation of fulfillment, impact, income. The poor seek survival. The rich seek significance. They've learned that the moment you stop chasing status and start chasing service, you stop needing validation and start attracting value. You'll never feel empty making others' lives full. That's why true wealth isn't counted in zeros. It's counted in legacies. Remember, the poor chase comfort. The rich chase contribution. The end is a beginning. By now, you understand the truth. The gap between the rich and the poor isn't just financial. It's mental, emotional, and spiritual. The poor chase money. The rich chase mastery. The poor seek comfort. The rich seek challenge. The poor live by emotion. The rich live by execution. And that's why one survives and the other soars. But here's the gift of this audiobook. No matter where you start, you can rewrite your story. You can change your habits. You can elevate your standards. You can retrain your thoughts. Because wealth isn't about inheritance. It's about intention. Every choice you make from this day forward, what you read, what you consume, what you believe, will either bring you closer to freedom or further into frustration. So choose wisely, act boldly, think abundantly, because when you master your mind, you master your money. And when you master your money, you master your life. Before you go, if this audiobook challenged your perspective, if it stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Hit like as your contract with growth. Comment with the line or idea that hit hardest. And subscribe, not for me, but for you, for your next chapter, for your next breakthrough, because this is just the beginning. The world doesn't need more rich people. It needs more aware ones. More people who use wealth as a tool for impact, not as a mask for insecurity. So go build wisely, live intentionally, and remember, the poor stay poor by repeating. The rich get richer by retraining. Educational disclaimer. This audiobook is for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not financial, legal, or investment advice. Always do your own research and consult a qualified professional before making financial decisions.